Greetings, fellow wizards. Welcome to the Papercraft Wizard channel. I'm Kelly, and I appreciate you being here. This is the first video in our Fairy Dust tutorial series. Exciting news! At the end of our series, we're going to be giving away this fairy album that we're making in our videos. We will provide instructions on how to enter to win. Be sure to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that bell icon. To begin, we're going to need a piece of cardstock measuring 17 inches by 9 inches. If you don't have this size paper, you can always use 2 pieces of paper together. We'll also be needing 2 pieces of cardstock that are 6.5 by 6 inches each, and a third piece of cardstock that is 6.5 by 2 inches. Let's begin by gluing these pieces of chipboard onto our cardstock. For an adhesive, I'm using art glitter glue. We want to make sure we're leaving about an inch all the way around those pieces of chipboard. When gluing the spine piece onto the cardstock, we want to leave an 1/8 inch gap between the piece before it and the spine piece. We're just going to make sure that it's nice and secure onto that paper. And then we're going to glue our third piece of chipboard. We're going to leave an 1/8 inch gap between this piece and the spine piece. We're going to make sure the chipboard is nice and secure on the cardstock. Now let's bend the cardstock around the edges of the chipboard. Now I'm going to cut off the corners of the cardstock, leaving an 1/8 inch between the corner of the chipboard and the edge of the cardstock. Once all the corners are trimmed off, we're going to add glue to the edges of the cardstock and wrap them around the chipboard. We want to make sure we have a nice, snug fit and the cardstock is properly secured. On these corners, we want to fold in the little excess pieces of cardstock. Here I'm using my bone folder to score the spaces in between the pieces of chipboard. Now I'm slowly folding the pieces of chipboard up and making sure that it moves freely. Now we're using 2 pieces of cardstock, size 6 3/8 by 5 7/8 to decorate the cover. First, I'm going to ink up these edges to give it a nice finished look. And now I'm going to use my art glitter glue and adhere these panels onto the cover. Now let's go ahead and mark where we're going to punch our 1/8 inch holes for our belt and buckle. The 1/8 inch hole mark for the front cover should be 1.5 inches in and then centered on the cover. The back cover will have an 1/8 inch hole 1/2 inch in and centered. And now I'm using my Crop-a-dile to punch the 1/8 inch holes. Now we're going to begin the construction of the belt and buckle. Here I have a leather rivet, a piece of faux suede that is about 1/4 inch by 1 1/8 inches, a piece of faux suede that's 1/2 inch by 3 inches, a piece of decorative cardstock that's 1/2 inch by 5 inches, and a piece of faux suede that is 1/2 inch by 5 inches. The cardstock, I did trim just a hair smaller than 1/2 inch by 5. Here I'm using a corner punch to round those corners. let's round the edges of the 3-inch faux suede. I'm using the art glitter glue to glue the decorative cardstock to the felt side of the faux suede. Now we're going to adhere the 5-inch decorative card strip to the 5-inch faux suede. We're going to adhere this cardstock to the felt part. The suede should be on the outside and the felt should be on the inside. Once we have that cardstock nice and secure on the suede, we're going to go ahead and round the edges. I'm using my scissors to round the edges of the suede to match the cardstock. I'm taking my ruler and centering it on the decorative strip. I want to make my holes right about the center of the strip, and I'm going at 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, and 2.25 inches. And I'm just making my marks so that I can see them. And then on the other side of the 5-inch piece, I'm just making a little hole right about the center for the leather rivet. I'm using my Crop-a-dile at the 1/8 inch hole to create that hole at the very end of that belt. And now I'm using the Crop-a-dile at the 3/16 inch hole to punch the hole for the other 3 holes. And here we have 3 holes on one side that are 3/16 inch and 1 hole on the other side that is 1/8 inch. Now we are going to punch our holes in our 3-inch piece. I'm folding over the 3-inch piece, and I'm punching an 1/8 inch hole through both pieces at the same time while they are lined up. I'm going to make a slit at the other end of the folded over piece. We're going to take this 1/4 by 1 1/8 inch piece, and we're going to adhere it to what will be the front side of our buckle piece. I'm using E6000 to adhere the suede. E6000 does have a bit of an odor to it. If you know of a similar glue that doesn't have the odor, please let me know in the comments. When adhering the 1/4 inch by 1 1/8 inch piece, we want to make sure that there is enough room for the belt to slide through. I'm sliding the metal buckle onto the suede piece. I'm using E6000 to adhere those 2 pieces of the suede piece together. Now let's work on the belt. Place the metal eyelet through the hole on the suede side and the eyelet backer on the cardstock side. I'm adjusting my Crop-a-dile. I'm using my Crop-a-dile upside down. It makes it easier for me to keep the little eyelet ring in place. And we'll do the same thing for the 2nd and 3rd eyelet. I'm going to add some E6000 to the back of the buckle component. I'm inserting a leather rivet into our 1/8 inch hole. And now I'll use my Crop-a-dile to secure the buckle mechanism to the cover. I'm adding some E6000 to the end of the belt and securing the belt to the back of the cover with a leather rivet. And now our belt and buckle mechanism is complete. Here we have a 7.25 inch by 3.25 inch piece of faux suede. I'm going to use my art glitter glue and glue the entire spine of the album. I'm centering the spine in the middle of the faux suede. I'm using my bone folder and my hands to make sure that that suede is nice and secure on the album spine. Let's continue to glue the suede onto the book. I'm using art glitter glue and my bone folder. The faux suede I'm using for this book is something I found on Amazon. Normally, I use the Cricut brand faux suede, and it does seem to glue a lot easier. It doesn't take as much glue or as much time. This faux suede is a bit thicker and a little bit more difficult to work with. My faux suede preference is the Cricut brand. However, they don't have a large variety of colors. The colors they have include red, black, and a few shades of brown. We want to make sure our suede is nice and secure on our cover. Here I'm folding the covers of the book up to ensure that our suede isn't puckering. I see that there is a little bit of pucker, so I'm taking my art glitter glue and adding a little bit of adhesive. You want to give that a little bit of time to dry. Let's decorate the cover. I have a little decorative piece here that says Fairie Dust. I'm going to add some ink to the edges to give it a finished look. I have a piece of chipboard that I've cut to just under the size of my decorative piece. I'm going to add some glue and adhere that decorative piece onto the chipboard. I'll use my bone folder to ensure it's nice and secure. I also have a chipboard piece from the Fairy Dust collection. I'm going to add some glue and adhere that to the top of the cover. I'm just lining that up to where it looks just about even and securing it down. Now let's adhere our decorative chipboard fairy dust piece to our cover. Don't forget about our giveaway opportunity. Subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the bell icon, and stay tuned for directions on how to enter our free giveaway. Thank you and happy crafting!